Hi, good morning. Today I would like to talk a little bit about managing stress, but more specifically, managing stress in relation to work life and family life balance. This can be a really big issue for a lot of people and a lot of families, that especially jobs are the defining factor of their whole financial situation, that they only derive all of their financial aid from jobs and their work life. So it's really hard, especially for families that are struggling financially, because they need a lot of that support directly from their job. So, of course, if their job is, interfering with their home life, or their home life is interfering with their job life, it can be a really tricky balance to try to keep those things both in check when they really do kind of coexist with each other and both need to be balanced in order to have a happy family. So, a couple of tips on managing stress. Well, first off, I guess I could talk about that managing stress is really important, obviously, because unfortunately it can lead to a lot of job burnout. It's kind of the biggest thing is that if your, stress life from home is getting really intense, again, financial situations are really, intense, or just emotional stress, it can really bleed into how your work is performed, and unfortunately can lead to job burnout, which is not good. It emotionally takes a lot of tolls on the people that work through them. It's also very hard because, even with job burnout, it can really lower your morale. You can really feel not as useful in the workplace. It'll show in your performance. Unfortunately, it might lead to you moving down in the ranks at your job. Honestly, and that much stress too can also lead to health issues. It's kind of a spiraling thing, unfortunately. Stress can really lead to a lot of really negative areas in someone's life. And so, of course, the question of all of this is, how do you separate these two lives? These are two very different lives that you want to kind of come together, but it's very difficult, especially when you spend probably just as much time at work as you do at home. It's really difficult. Most people have that kind of 9 to 5 job, if not more, because now with technology, it kind of even encroaches more into your home life through computers, text messages, emails back and forth, and you never feel like you can fully get away from that. It's a really hard thing. Honestly, I think it's gotten harder with this much technology. I think it really implements people's lives in a negative way, unfortunately. So, some things to combat that is, it's really important to set priorities. That's a big thing. Setting boundaries with your work is really big, and also setting boundaries with your family. You need to sit down with your family and explain, hey, this is our job. This is my job. This is something that's very important. This is what's providing for our family. Unfortunately, we're going to have to all make sacrifices here, and I'm sorry. And you can express, of course, that I'm sure emotionally it's not easy to sit down and explain these things with your family, of course. But you also, on that same token, you need to set boundaries with your jobs. You need to explain, hey, I do have a family, I have a partner and I have kids, and this is what I need to do to provide for them. But on that same token, I can't work weekends, or on that same token, I cannot work past 3 o'clock because it is very important to me that I have time to spend with my kids. That's completely understandable. And hopefully, depending on your circumstances with your job, they need to understand that you need to set boundaries like that. It's vital, So, another big thing, I guess, kind of with boundaries too, you need to set boundaries with yourself, and hopefully your partner. You need to explain that you need time to yourself. People need time to recharge, especially with jobs that are emotionally taxing. Don't really have a specific job I'm thinking of, but just overarching all jobs. It is very important that you get personal time to recharge. Of course, you would love to be with your kids and your partner, of course. Individual time is very important. You can't, what's the whole saying? You can't give from an empty cup. It's true. You need a lot of time to yourself to fully get back your sense of self and recharge, But yeah, there is also another tip that can kind of help conjoin these two worlds. Again, depending on your specific job, you could try to join some aspects of your work life with your family life. It would be really cool if for some things you could get your kids to kind of help you and sit next to you. You could explain some of the things you're doing in layman's terms, very simple terms. You could be like, yeah, this is what I'm doing today. You could show them whatever work you're doing, hopefully to kind of conjoin those two worlds and make your kids and your family feel like they're really part of your work life as well. It doesn't have to be this, I put on my work hat when I go to work and I come home and I take it off and now I'm the family person. It can really be that type of bridged connection. But communication is really key too. That's another big point. You need to have good communication with your partner. Absolutely, you need to explain, hey, maybe you could drive the kids to this one day. I'm really busy with work, but I promise next week I'll do dinner in the next 3 nights. I'll make dinner. You need to have that balance and communication with your partner. That's always very key. So always make time for your kids. That's very important, but also keep in mind that you need to make time for your work.